Today I will be installing this Koyo radiator in my 2017 Subaru BRZ. What you will need for this job is a hose clamp compressor thing, some ratchets, a 10 and 12 millimeter ratchet with sockets, some picks and body panel clips, poppers, and a 5.5 millimeter socket and an extension. Okay, the first step is to take off this plate and this one right here, and they're just held in with some 10 millimeters and some 12s and then some plastic clips there. Okay, the first step is to remove the intake. So for mine, I have the parent, so that's a 7 mil right there, and then just take this clamp off. If this is your first time taking it off, you'll probably have to use a pick to work around to get the hose off. But once you get that, it should come off very easily like that. The next step is to unclip this math sensor. It's just one clip right there, and then a clip back here, and then that's off. And now you can flip these and pull off the intake. Okay, as you can see, it's off now. I would like stick something in your intake just so dirt and shit doesn't get in there. So I'm going to grab a clean cloth and stick it in there. The next step is to remove the 3 10 mils holding this on, and it's 1, 2, 3, and then now this should just pop off. Okay, it's out. Now you want to remove this clip, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10 mils, I believe. Okay, now this just pops off right there, and you can set that to the side. While you're in here, just remove these 2 12 mils and pull off the latch. Now you want to remove these 3 clips, and then there's one clip up here, but when the dealership replaced my side marker, they did not apparently put it back in. Okay, now we need to take out the 7 clips that line the bumper, as well as the 2 10 mils. So there's a 10 mil right here, and a 10 mil right there. Okay, now that you wiggled your bumper off, make sure if you have head or fog lights to unclip them, and then this is just the simple clip to take your side markers off. Now you remove these 2 10 mils and these 4 12 mils, and then you have to pop these 2 clips, and then I believe this should come out, and if it doesn't, there are just 2 bolts down there that are 10 mils. So as you can see, my headers are very close to these 2 nuts, so you're just going to have to use like a box and ratchet or something. So now you can remove this, but there is a clip that's right in here, from right here for your hood latch, and just pop that off, and then you can pull this off. Okay, now you just remove these 2 bolts that hold the reservoir cap. Okay, now you want to remove those 2 10 mils. Okay, now you can remove the support with these 2 10 bolts, and then rotate it, and then pop it off. Okay, now you can undo the 2 10 millimeter bolts and move the excess tank, or the surge tank, or whatever it's called, to the side. And then there's a clip down there, and a clip right here, and that should pop off the fan shroud. Okay, now there are 2 connectors down here that you need to disconnect, and then just use a pick to pull the loom off, and now you can remove the fan shroud. There actually is a second clip that you have to undo that's right up there, and you can just pull it out then. Okay, I'm going to be pretty lazy, and I'm not going to take the underpan out. I'm just going to put a pan under there and twist that yellow knob to drain the radiator, and then pull it. Okay, so there are 2 braces down there, and then 2 braces down there that you got to take out. And then there's a clip that's right down there that holds, I guess, some type of sensor, and you can take that off, and then you can pull off the radiator. Okay, so we got this sensor clip off and these 2 mounts, and now we can undo this and that, and then just pull the radiator out, hopefully. Okay, so we got the radiator out, and now just put the plug in there, and then just put something in the holes in case we need it again, so stuff doesn't get into the radiator. Okay, so now as you can see, I made a massive mess in here. So now I'm going to wipe this up clean and then get to installing the new radiator. Okay, now that I got everything cleaned up, you put the new radiator in, and if you push it kind of forward, you can put the brackets in right there and right there. Okay, I got all the brackets on now, and now you can slip on the hoses. Also, make sure to be soft with these. The rusty ones I snapped the head off, so now I only have 3 into the AC core. It's easiest if you don't tighten both of these down and you leave some wiggle room so you can move the core. And then once you get them all in place, you can tighten it back down. I slipped on these 2 right there and put the clip back in. It's easiest if you move this part into place and then pop it onto right here and then put the latches on. Okay, I put both the supports in and rotate them and put the 10mm bolts back in. Okay, now you can just put those 2 10mm to hold the, I guess the fill up for the radiator, and you can put the old cap back on. Okay, now we wiggle in the fan shroud and we put the short fat 13mm bolts on the top, and then the long 10mm go down the bottom corner. This one you're going to have to do by feel, and then there's one down here that you can get in through the corner. Now you clip in these 2 fan controllers and clip in the loom. And next we are going to bolt the excess tank into those 2 bolts right there. So this threw me off for a second. There's actually a hole in this brace right here, and then there's a peg in this tank, and you have to fit them in order to get these screws in. Now we're just going to flip this lid and take this off and fill it up, and we are going to squeeze these holes, trying to get as many bubbles out as we can before we reassemble anything. Also squeeze this hole too. Okay, so I got about 2 gallons in there, and I squeezed that hose down there until it stopped sucking more in, and I squeezed that hose until it stopped sucking more in. So I'm just going to leave this while I put the intake together, and then we're going to start the car, and we're going to let it go until the thermostat opens up. Okay, now take the hood latch and clip it in right here, and just make sure that it lines up, and now bolt these 4 in and those 2 down in there. Okay, now you want to put these 12 mils in for the hood latch and just test to make sure that the hood latches. I already did this, but put something in there like this, and now you pull the latch on the inside and make sure it pops. And also make sure this moves. But you'll hear the pop when I do this. Okay, so it works. Now you want to put on the outside part of the intake, so it's these 2 bolts right here, and then this with this bolt, and that bolt. And you don't want them too tight because they're like on like rubber isolators, so you know, just a little bit of play. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the rest of our intake on, tighten it up, and then tighten up the positive crankcase ventilator tube. And we're going to start the car and we're going to burp it. We got all of our pieces together. There, underneath of this, there's a little tab and a slot that this clicks into, and then you hit these, plug the MAF back in, put that back in, connect your tube, and now we're ready to start the engine and burp it. Okay, now we have the car started, and we still have the burp funnel on, and we just let it idle until it reaches up to temp. It is almost up to temp, and as soon as it starts getting up to temp, the funnel will start bubbling, and you'll just keep on pouring more coolant in until it doesn't go anymore. And I believe I just heard the radiator fans kick on, so it's probably just about to go. Okay, I believe now that I burped it, I put the bumper on and I connected the side markers, the fog lights, and now time to put the screws and the clips in down here and on the bottom. Okay, before we put the clips and stuff on, I forgot you have to put this weather stripping on. The next step is to put on the 3 body clips for the wheel well to the bumper. If you have the clip up here, put that in there. I don't have it, and I don't have one that fits. So after this, now we're going to put all the clips on the bottom and then put the under panel on. Okay, now we got all the 12mm bolts and the 3 clips on the side on for this. Now we will install the panel for this. Okay, now we got this on to the best of our ability. I need to get a new one because the dealer fucked it up. But now we lower it and take it on test drive. Make sure you bring coolant with you, so if you overheat you can stop, let your car cool down, put more coolant in.